My name is Steve Kontos. Στα ελληνικά με λένε στο χωριό, με λένε Στάτη, στην Αθήνα Ευστάθιο. I was born στον Άγιο Ισίδωρο, 1941. And today I'm 83 years old. My parents was Αφροδίτη και Μανώλη Kontos, που ζούσαν στον Άγιο Ισίδωρο. I have 3 sisters and 5 brothers. Lately, one of my brothers, which is youngest brothers, he died February 15, 2024, Menelaus. Oh, my father was farmer. Όλοι στο χωριό είχαν, their own farms, and they're working for their own in order to feed the family. They were doing sitari, wheat, mostly in vegetables in order to eat, because you couldn't go down a supermarket and buy, any vegetables you had. You had to grow your own vegetables in order to eat, So, and you make your own bread, which you plant the sitari, the wheat, and that's how, we lived. Ελιές, είχαμε το δικό μας το λάδι. Μαζεύαν τις ελιές και το παίρναμε στο ηλεκτριβείο και we produced το λάδι. I remember the χωριό that life there was really tough. Everybody, no matter how old were you have to work a little bit. You have to help the family, feed the chickens, feed the pigs. Everybody had a chores to do. The diet we had in the χωριό, and I think, as far as I remember those years, meat, it was only holidays, maybe Χριστούγεννα and Pascha. The rest of the days, there was, the food you ate, there were all vegetables. The one you grow yourself. Μέχρι την τρίτη τάξη στο σχολείο, στο χωριό. After that I went to στην Αθήνα. I came back again and I finished πέμπτη και έκτη. I didn't know where to be. I just wanted to work, grow up, and learn some kind of technique. I wanted to go see, how the other people live in this world. They all live like we live στο χωριό, στον Άγιο Ισίδωρο. All they have difference. That was my big question I had in life. But I don't know how I'm going to accomplish only reading on magazines or newspaper or any books I had. I think when I was a kid, let's say under 10, 6, 7, believe it or not, I was dreaming that I was working in New York City. I don't know how I had that, And then I said, I'd like to go to United States, but I had no way to go. Well, when I went back to Athens, probably I was after I finished το σχολείο στο χωριό, την πέμπτη τάξη. I said to my father, I want to go back to στην Αθήνα πάλι, στο θείο, είχα ένα θείο. I went at night, trade school, and I wanted to be a mechanic. After that, the 3rd year, the teacher says, hey, you have to go now and practice in order to continue to get your diploma. But I said, look, I can't because I don't have no place to live, no place to eat. So I cannot do that. So friend of mine, one of my colleagues from school, we were working one night and we stopped someplace in Athens. And he says, says, I'm going to go στα βαπόρια, ships. And he got something in my mind. Oh my God, βαπόρια, θα πας στα βαπόρια, the ships, you sleep in there, you eat in there, and you get paid. and then you travel someplace. That's what happened. In order to be a seaman, you have to have your called philadelphia, seaman book. So in order to get the seaman book, you had to be 16 years old. And I wasn't 16. I was 15, 15 and a half. And my parents, they had to sign υπογράψουν for me to get the seaman book. And it did. So after I got the seaman book, now you go and, looking for placement, job someplace. Now the thing was that you have no experience, and I remember that time, 50s, late 50s, there were a lot of unemployed, unemployed people. There were like 10,000 seamen that had no work. So I went to κάποιον λεγόταν Κωτιάδες. He was this chief για το ships. Ο υπουργός ναυτιλίας ήταν, So I went to him and he says, what can I do in my boy, And I said, look, I told him who I am. He was from Israel, Kotiades, and I said, I want to get a job someplace, and, στα Βαπόρια, my boy said, listen, έχουμε a lot of unemployment, Πολλοί κάθονται, δεν έχουν δουλειές, I don't know what you can do. But give me a number and say, go see το λιμενάρχη στον Πειραιά. All right? And he give me a number, I go in there, the guy says, I don't know what to do, he says, I don't have anything, just recommendation. So finally, after the first week, second week, I'll come back next week, then the following week, finally I went after 3 or 4 times, and he says, here's a guy, go see this guy, ήταν ένα καΐκι, μικρό καΐκι, 150 tons, something like that. They were going to, the islands, τα νησιά, So I went over, and the guy says, listen, my boy, I have a job, but I cannot pay you, all right? Well, being that I was homeless, so I said to myself, okay, I'll come down, you don't have to pay me. So I figured I'll come down, I have place to sleep, place to eat, and get a little experience for my next step, which I would go to another ship and ask for work. And now I tell him to have a little experience. And he told me, so that's what happened. So I stayed there for about 5-6 months. Sleep, eat, no pay. So after 6 months, I said to myself, oh, Steve, Stathi, you got experience now. Τώρα έχεις πείρα. So give me the opportunity to go and search, ask for work, κάπου αλλού. Επειδή ήμασταν στον Πειραιά, όλα τα βαπόρια ήταν στον Πειραιά εκεί πέρα και ερχόντασαν. So I said to myself, an old saying, ελληνικά and Greek say, if you itch, don't wait somebody else to scratch your back. You scratch your back yourself. When I was to the first ship over there, to little καΐκι που λέμε, so there were, I was cooking a little bit, I was doing a little bit over there. It must have 4 or 5 people on, there, the captain, his nephew, another guy. I say about 5 people. So I started cooking a little bit for them. Something, καπετάνς λέει, πήγαινε κάνει φασολάδα, Anyway, so when I decided that this is not what I want to do, now I got a little experience, now say I might have a little experience as a cook, which really was nothing. So when I went and I stopped Piraeus and I visited the ships, I asked the guys, and I says, hey, you need anybody to work? So the guy said no, and then I continued the next one, the next one, the next one. There was a guy over there my age at that time, 17, 18. I says to him, you need somebody to work. He said, what are you doing? I said, what do you want me to do? I'll do anything you want. He says, I'm working at cooking, I do a little cooking, I do, I said, okay, listen. Okay. I said, I'm gonna take you up to the captain. The captain was his uncle, ο θείος του. Και λέει, θα πεις ότι you know how to cook. Ξέρεις ότι μαγειρεύεις. Right? Γιατί θέλω να σε βάλω στην κουζίνα. Εγώ θέλω να μπω από την κουζίνα γιατί θα γίνω captain and I wanted somebody to replace him and I'm going to tell the captain, my Theo, that you know how to cook. And he says, don't worry about, I'm going to teach you. I said, just say that because I want to get out of the kitchen. I said, okay, Nick, his name's Nick. Okay, so I go up to the captain. Τι κάνεις? Μαγειρεύω λίγο από εδώ και από εκεί. You know, if you, have maybe 6-7 months experience, I said, okay, good, I got the job. All right, right there, and the pay I think was 400 drachmas that time, which I think it was, I don't know, $2-3 a month or $5. That was 1956 or 57. I got the job. Now I tell the guy, Nick, I said, Nick, I'm a little scared because I don't know too much now. The ship, the πλήρωμα ήταν 20 to 25 people. It had to stand. They would deliver meat to the army and they were going, inside Greece. They would go to Thessaloniki, Kavala, all the Greek islands. I was so eager, so thin to learn about cooking. You know that? I got so good and became such a good chef. I was cooking for 25 people and everybody was so happy. As a matter of fact, captains, καπετάνιος με έπαιρνε στο σπίτι του, his house, and I helped sometime when he had, company, he had guests. And I had a white jacket and a thing, and I helped the wife in the kitchen and everything, So I did that for a year and a half. I became very good friends with my buddy Nikolaki, and I was very happy, So I was making 400 drachmas, a month, and I sent part of it to my father, and he was happy and everything. Now, after a year and a half, I think, I was there. So I sat down with my friend Nikolaki, Nick, and I said, Nick, this is not life. This is not future. We're in a future over here, I said, look, I don't want to work the rest of my life in the ships, all right? First of all, because I was getting a little seasick sometime when it was a big storm, and I was getting really bad. And I said, look, I don't want the rest of my life spend seaman. Να δουλεύουν στα βαπόρια. I want to go America or Australia. How are we going to do that? Listen, we're going to go scratch ourselves. Like I said before, we got to go in there and ask. Nobody's going to come. He's going to say, hey, come over here. I got to work for you. Oh yeah, but 10,000 seamen, unemployed. I don't care if it's 10,000. If you don't try, you're never going to find it. So I said, Nick, let's decide every weekend we're here. After στον Πειραιά όλα τα γραφεία, the office, they open 5 to 8. We're going to go and knock on doors, I said, look, I'm not looking for 10,000 doors. I'm looking for one door to open up. If you're not there, you're not going to get it. So this is my thought. When all the offices, Niarchos, Onassi, most of the εφοπλιστές εκεί πέρα, hey, do you need anybody? So we went 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, nothing. So my buddy Nikolaki says, you see, I told you so. Stathaki μου λέει, it's not easy, we have nothing. And I said, look, λέει η παροιμία μπρος, κρεμνός και πίσω ρεύμα. I said, we have no choice. I says, I'm gonna going, and try it again. So my buddy Nikolai, he give up. Now, I had experience. I was cooking for 25 people. When I went to Niarcho, τα γραφεία, I remember it was Friday. The guy says, what are you doing? Τι κάνεις? Λέω, είμαι μάγειρας, μαγειρεύω για 20-25 ανθρώπους. The guy was very impressed. So μου λέει, come over here Wednesday, I'm gonna ship you to Cairo, Egypt. You got a job, and tanker, 20 tons, 20,000 tanker that was going from Europe to Persia within Iran, delivering. They had a contract, Europe and Persia, tank, and they would go through the Suez Canal. So we went to Italy, we went to Liverpool, went to England, we went to Spain, and on one trip we went to Bombay, India, So now I was very happy, but I said to myself, this is not what I wanted to do the rest of my life. And I remember one time when we went to Liverpool, we get out of the Atlantic Ocean, from Agios. I never saw so big waves, mountains it was waves. I got so sick. I thought the ship we're gonna go under. After that, I said to myself, you gotta do something else. You gotta get out of this. My idea, my thought, my wish, it is to get out and go on steady ground, not something moves. After we left Liverpool or London, they say we lost the contract from Europe to Iran. So, and δεν μας λέγανε πού θα πάμε. Big mystery. Because if they say it goes to America, a lot of people are going to escape. So I said to my roommate, I said, look, θα πάμε στην Αμερική. Έλα μου ρε και εσύ με την Αμερική, all αυτό. Δεν πάμε μου λέει, Anyway, so what I did, I wrote a letter to my father και του λέω, στείλε μου το θείο που έχουμε στην Αμερική, που ήταν στο Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and κάτι άλλο που ήταν στην, η Νέα Υόρκη, Γεωργαλίδες νομίζω κάτι, κάποιος είχε ένα shoe store εκεί πέρα. We had to stop in Suez Canal and pick up supplies, for the kitchen, for this, and then we get our mail. So when we go down, I got my mail and I got a letter with, addresses in New York, the theme and everything. So του λέω του roommate, hey, I got the address, θα πάμε στην Αμερική. Έλα μου λέει και εσύ με την Αμερική, με τρέλαινες με την Αμερική. I said, okay. Φεύγουμε, πάμε, φορτώνουμε, we go through the Suez Canal. Μπαίνουμε στο Αιγαίο μέσα, περνάμε, πού πάμε? Nobody said anything, they didn't say anything. After 2 days, they call us up and they say, all right, we have a meeting at the dining room and we're going to tell you πού θα πάμε. Κάθομαι και πέρα και λέω, okay, κοιτάξτε λέει, θα πάμε στα Φιλαδέλφια στην Αμερική. When you get out the city, you can go local. The police, the immigration, you know that we're not allowed to go outside of Philadelphia, outside the city we were. Now we want to go to New York City. We got a taxi and we said, look, you're going to take us to New York City. How much you want? So it was $50. You got in a taxi and they take us to New York City, downtown. So I went to the address that I had. It was closed at the time, it was 10 o'clock at night. We had no money to go to a hotel to sleep. We tried to wait till in the morning till he opens up the store, this guy, Yorgalis. Now, 10 o'clock at night, 10, 11 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 12 o'clock. Now, what are we going to do? We got tired, walking, everything. Let's get to a movie. So we got to a movie, we'll pay $1. We'll go to a movie, not to see the movie, to rest. 42nd Street, which is all the movies. Now, we're afraid, we'll go out there walking 8th Avenue, 7th Avenue, up and down. In the morning, after 6 o'clock, I was so dead, tired, we stopped to a restaurant. It happened to be Greek, Ελληνικό restaurant. After that, we called my, Αναστάση Γεωργά, κάποιον και ήρθες και μας πήρε, cross the Union City, which is across the river. And then I went to Pittsburgh to see my uncle. I worked there for a month, and I said to myself, now, the place over there is Rochester, Pennsylvania, which is a little town. So I said to myself, I left from little χωριό, little town, ήρθα στην Αμερική, and I came to another little town. No, that's not my dream. I want to go to New York. I want to go, New Jersey. I want to go where I see water. I smell salt. And the only thing was come back to New Jersey or to New York. So one of my friends and relatives, Σιδερίτης, ο πατέρας του, Michael Emmanuel, λέει, αυτός πήγαινε και δούλευε in New York, Long Island, σε ένα restaurant, ένα diner for the summer. And he says to me, you want to come? I'll take you with me. So I went over there. So I went to a fast food restaurant. And I wanted to get something. I didn't know how to say it. I was so scared. And I pointed out and I said, give me this. And then I put in my mind that, Steve, you gotta learn the language. And nobody's gonna come down and put the language in your brain. So I said to myself, if you learn 5 sentences a day, so much a week, so much a month, I think if you reach 100 sentences, you're gonna be able to communicate with the people. I put my mind down and I did it. 3 months, guys, I learned how to communicate. What's your name? Πού θέλεις να πας? I want to eat this. I want to take this bus. And then when I came back to New Jersey, I went to a night school. When the teacher talked, I understood the teacher and I asked the questions. I met this girl, and she says, I said, what are you doing here? He says, I don't know, so where do you live? Oh, I have no place. What do you mean you have no place? So where's your house? So what are you going to stay tonight? She said, I have no place to stay. So I said, you want to come with me? I said, I have a little studio apartment. And I said, I have a couch and I have a bed. I said, I thought and I said, look, she can be a good woman. I marry her. If that works, I stay with her. All right? If it's not work, we can, separate. In order to get married in New York City, New Jersey, Pennsylvania, you have to be 21. All right? And you have to have if you're under 21, you have to have a parent's concern. So we checked it out, and the only place it was South Carolina, Raleigh. Raleigh, either north or south, something like this. So you can, if you under 21, you can go there with no parents' concern. You can get married. Take the bus, we'll go over there, we'll go over there, we'll file the thing, we got married, now I come back to, Union City in New Jersey. So I got a job working on, fast food restaurant. So now it's 30 days past. One guy comes in and says to me, you got a green card? I say, yes, sir, I got a green card. And I say, look, don't bother me, I'm busy right now, Now I said to myself, oh, this guy is really. So he says, I said, look, he says, I want to see your green card. You don't understand? I'm busy now, I'm working. I don't have time for you. I'll wait for you, So wait a minute till the end, and get off. When you get off? I have 5 o'clock. He wait from there, comes inside. I said, come inside. And he comes inside, and I said, where's your green card? Okay, let me tell you something, my friend. I'm illegal. I got married 30 days ago. Yeah. And he says, 30 days ago, and where is she? You live with the wife? Where's the wife? Yeah. Well, I want to see your marriage certificate first, what I said. Then I want to see the wife. It's okay. So he drove me with the car. He gets in the car. He's driving down 45 minutes back to my apartment. I go in there. I open the door. I show him this marriage certificate. Oh, I got to see your wife. I said, she's not here yet. Wait till, and then maybe 20 minutes later, boom, the key come down. Here's my wife. Oh, okay. Why don't you apply to, go to New York, apply for, citizenship? My friend, I didn't have no money, and I just got married, I spend money at the, I'm taking my time, and I'm busy, all right. And that's how I got the status to be, permanent, legal, resident in the USA. Now, what happened after this, for a while, she didn't want to be married, she wanted the thing, so we split, all right? Now, in order to file citizen papers to become, a permanent residence, and, you have to be, I think, living with the wife for 3 years, married. If you come as an immigrant from the, thing, it takes you 5 years. So the third year, I said to myself, now we split. She went on her own and everything, I went on my own. So now I go in there, so I want to apply for citizenships, all right? The guy sits over there, the immigration guy, and he had when he looked at the file, he had a file, it was like this, like 6, 7 inches, pack, with information again. So he says, oh, you married? Yeah. You live with the wife? Yes, sir, I live with the wife. Lies. So he says, no, we just find out. We went to your place where you live, and where's your landlord? And he says, there's no wife. They don't know you married, and they never say you are, so you lie. So, boom, you're not allowed till you come 15 months later to apply again for citizen papers. I went to the second time, and the guy was the same immigration guy, and I think it was the second, third time I went. Now we knew each other, Now what happened when I went over there, that the place I went to Elizabeth, I knew somebody from the town. He was in road department. So he called a guy, whoever is at the charge at the immigration service, says, when this guy here, Steve Kontos comes, you better take care of it. So I go in there with John. Okay, oh, so, yeah, I know so. All right, okay, you all right, okay, all right. Can you write something? You know how to write? Yeah, I said, I know how to write a little bit. I write over here, I go home, he told me a sentence to write. So I wrote it, I don't know, whatever he told me, I wrote it. Okay, you pass, you're citizens. You're gonna get your citizenship. My father came permanent. My brother Chris, my brother George was here, and my brother Manny, and Andy we had, another. We started the painting business, construction, all right? And then my dream was to go, even when I was a kid, I was dreaming to come, to build new houses, all right? So we started working as a, I got them job as painters, and I used to take them to the job and pick them up. One day somebody stops in there and says, I want to talk to the boss. And I said, the boss is not here. He says, so what can I do for you, sir? He says, I want to paint my house. I said, okay. So I tell my brother, listen, this guy wants to paint the house. What do we do it? So we go over there, We paint a house over there, you know, and it was $250. I gave me an estimate, paint the windows, you know. And he says to me, all right. I said, 250 too much? I give you 220, you know. And you're gonna use certain paint, lucite paint. I said, good. The next lady, she says, I wanna paint my house. It's okay, how much in it? $400. So we got the job. And in the 2 months, that time, I think we made up a $7,000 business. And I said, holy cow. Now, if you go to a restaurant to make $7,000, you know, you gotta invest so much money, you gotta buy a place, you gotta do this. Why do we start, to expand this business? I bought a truck. I started advertising, and I made a company, Kontos Brothers Painting. Now I had the father, and my brother came too sometime, one of my brothers, and I had another 3 brothers. I had a whole crew now. From painting, we graduated to little renovation. Now we became a little more general contractors. At the first year, we made $40,000, you know. So the second year, I made a $250,000 business. And that's how, it started. But after that, in 1972, now we're about a year and a half of this. 72, my dream was to go and build new houses. So I hooked up with a guy, another great guy, he was an engineer, Dimitris Dimakidis. And he was a builder here, civil engineer from Greece. And we did a job for him, and I says to him, I want to go start building new. He says, okay, listen, I got 2 lots I'm going to sell you. The 2 lots, the $7,000, and he says, I'm gonna take you to the bank and you get you the loan and everything. So now my brothers, they were busy with the painting local, but this job, it was like an hour away from, almost maybe an hour and 20 minutes, far away from, where we used to live. They don't want to come down there, it's too far, we don't want to go, We're gonna stick here because the jobs, it was close over here. So 72, I started building, houses. Now he give me his carpenters, he give me his plumbers and everything, And then, one time I asked the builder, we did a job for a builder, and I said to him, how do you become a builder? He said, look, when you don't know what to do anymore, when you have nothing else, you don't know anything else, you become a builder. Because a builder, what do? You don't build yourself, let's say, you get the plumber, he does the plumbing, you get the electrician, You gotta be a good manager, builder. And you have some money, of course, Now I'm 34, 35 years old, all right? And I said, I gotta meet somebody, I gotta get married, and have a family. So when I met Fotini, we said one night, the second night, I said, we was down talking about, religion, Thriskia. I knew she was very religious, very thin, and I said, I like that, After that, she went to Montreal, and then we had phone calls back and forth. So, and I says to her, one time she was gonna she worked at the bank. She was gonna get a, promotion as a manager. And she says, look, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna marry me? Or I'm gonna get the promotion. So I said, well, tell them you're not gonna take the job, you're gonna get married. 2 months later, October, went to Montreal, we got married. Got 3 wonderful kids. Eleni, Niproti, she's a smart, wonderful, kind person. And then I have Michael, which he's now with me. He's running the business with me. And then I have Kani, Konstantina, which is a teacher, and she has 2 kids, and Michael has 3 kids. So I got 5 grandchildren. We took the family 6, 7 cruises. Went back to Greece a couple of times. I went to Spain. I went to France. Well, the first city was New York. Yeah. Go back to Athens. Sure, it was Athens and Rhodes. That was because I didn't know Rhodes when I was a kid. From Greece, yeah, Athena and Rhodes, it was my favorite. I had a dream, I succeed in business, and I succeed, I have a wonderful wife for 48 years, 3 wonderful kids, that I have. And I could not be happier than that.